All right, welcome everyone. You guys read the title. You guys know what we're going to talk about. The TikTok ban. What you are not being told in mainstream conversation. And what are some lessons that we can take from this TikTok ban? What is happening in the background? What is the truth behind the TikTok ban? Why did it happen? Why did it only last less than 24 hours? And as of right now, there are a lot of contenders as to who is going to buy TikTok given the 75-day extension from the Trump administration. The app and the CEO of the app, they were praising Trump for his negotiation discussions. But what's really going to happen here? And what can we all learn from this? Because truly, TikTok is a very powerful app. So many people were using it, so many, like we can't even deny what was going on with the whole Palestine issue. So many people were learning about that and getting behind that movement. And I have a panel here to discuss this all. We're going to talk a lot about different pros and cons. We're going to talk about Red Note, sharing different perspectives here. So right off the bat, let's introduce the panel here. Everybody here is a returning guest. Let's start off with Warren. How are you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. And with these fine folks too. We missed Prop last time because he was he I because I'm an alpha male. He has this tendency to he whimpers and then he pees a little bit of himself. So but this week he's wearing Depends and he's got everything under control. And I promise to be nice to him tonight. So everything's fine.
Yes, please be nice to each other here.
Hi.
And then we got
That's for
Glory
you. No,
Jones.
that's only for you, Prop.
We got Propaganda Live
Hey yo. Hello.
and Polly.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh,
All
so
right.
I'm the asshole who makes this whole long ass comedy fucking speech, and everybody else is like,
For,
I do it, I do
Yeah, I was
it,
expecting
okay.
I
more.
don't know what to
Good
say
stuff.
after that.
Fucking
You'll
asshole.
have
I
to
truly,
forgive Propaganda. He's from the 51st state.
Oh,
God,
that's
that shit
right.
pisses me off, dude. Again, I've said to people, I'm like, I'll fucking join a militia if it gets down to that shit. Like, don't even. Like, there's politicians right now talking about that shit. I am so not into that.
It'll
So
be great,
before
man. It's just
before
like now you get to lick American boot leather even like further. Like
before we do jump into the main discussion, propaganda, as a Canadian, would you rather have independence for French Canada or Canada gets taken over by the US?
What? Yeah,
Give him
no,
a
I'd
moment.
rather Quebec have frickin' independence if they wanted. That's
Really?
okay.
You'd rather give the French Canadians independence?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, well, that almost happened actually.
some of the
Yeah, I
best
know.
musicians on planet Earth are from French Canada. That's just a fact of life.
Until you ask them about First Nations people, and it's like, oh, we hate the natives.
So, guys, why do you think the TikTok ban happened? What is the real reason behind it? Is it actually because of Chinese surveillance? TikTok is owned by ByteDance, which is headquartered in Beijing, China. But the CEO is from Singapore, and there's that viral video of him being interrogated by U.S. politicians, right wing politicians. He's like, "No, I'm not a Chinese spy. I'm Singaporean." But go ahead. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
The reality is there's so much cross-pollination between US and Chinese business that the idea that like this app is exclusively Chinese and this app is exclusively American with as it relates specifically to TikTok and Red Note because both have both US and Chinese investors. It's just asinine and like once you see it that like the whole national security narrative, the anti-China narrative is literally just there to not only provide justification for, further censorship on TikTok, but also to further gin up and kind of buttress that Cold War 2.0 narrative that's just got like all kinds of people chirping back and forth at each other. You got the neocons on one hand, wanting to go to war with China and saying, we need to, the only reason, in fact, why we want to end the proxy war between Ukraine and Russia is so we can go at China. And then on the other side, you have, complete bootlickers that just overlook every single step China is taking to, advance its own digital panopticon and technocratic policies. So that ultimately those people start, chirping the moment that any sort of like Cold War 2.0 op is boosted. So that's kind of like the twofold purpose of trying to paint TikTok as like a Chinese spyware is, like I said earlier, it's not only do you get that sort of quote unquote national security justification for your, congressional bills and bullshit, but you also further flame the fire of the psyop that is Cold War 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I concur there with I know it's definitely a propaganda thing too. It's like all the greatest hits that we got with Russia, how we demonize them. We haven't quite demonized China enough, but something like this kind of helps. Isn't it also too like they didn't have access to the data or something, and because it wasn't like it was an American company, something like that. But it's mostly it's this and other things that they're demonizing China over. When you see what China's doing, getting all this provocations with ships in the South China Sea and stuff like that. It's just getting people prepared and conditioned for the fact that we are going to go to war with China, which is going to be probably the dumbest war we've ever done for sure. There's like 1 billion plus people, and they got nukes too. I mean, how the fuck are you gonna? What is the end game? That's what I want. I want to know about that.
So there's no evidence that TikTok has directly provided user data to the Chinese government. But what the U.S. is using as an excuse is that they're saying, oh, we're worrying that Chinese laws are going to require these companies to assist with intelligence operations if they're requested. That's the excuse that they're using. But of course, like the American people, they're gonna like simplify that whole narrative down, saying like, oh, they're probably spying on us for sure.
I feel like the just like the tech ability that governments have to just spy on people through their computer screens or through their phones, like uh like they can just listen to you through your phone and all this stuff. So I don't feel like that they really need Facebook or TikTok or anybody's consent to like uh collect data from their websites, even though all of these tech billionaires have like connections to governments and like are created by governments in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, and Prab, you wanted to share with us some concerns that Julian Assange had about China, right? How does this tie in with all this?
Yeah, that he was just saying that um that like China is WikiLeaks's biggest online uh like adversary, I believe was the word he used, because they just like block WikiLeaks outright. And like most countries you can like at least look WikiLeaks up, even though they'll like, jail Julian Assange kind of stuff. You could still fucking look up what he published in
So
these countries or whatever. So yeah, he was just saying that like with the internet, that China was like very censorious, and that's like one of his main um yeah, he's like an advocate for that. So I just like think that a lot of people that like espouse his name or his morals need to like maybe like research a little bit more about, government uh tyranny, and then like uh like computer science and like computer security and stuff. because I don't think like a lot of people realize that like they have like infrared technology on phones and stuff now where they can like read your face and like while you're on these social media apps, like look at your face and see how you're like reacting to things on these websites and like collecting data off that for their like robot fucking armies or whatever they're building,
That's
their
wild.
digital panopticon kind of thing.
What I'm getting out of this is that the surveillance is really nothing new. That like whether the U.S. is doing it or China is doing it, and that it's probably not the real reason behind the ban. It's
And
probably
I've
more so because of other things that were going on, right?
Yeah,
Are we in
like all
agreement with
this
that?
stuff that they're talking about is like old news. Like this is like Edward Snowden era like stuff that we've
Yeah.
like known about them collecting data and spying on us and stuff. And then now it's like the government's like well all the shit that they're talking about now. They're talking about like a lot of real stuff that we've always talked about that was always like in the shadows. And now like Republican and Democrats are like outright talking about whatever like the Tuskegee experiments or like uh I don't know, whatever Republicans talk about with uh like MK Ultra or shit like that. When you hear like Chris Cuomo and people talking about this stuff now, and they're just doing it because they're like there's bigger shit going on, and then they can use all this stuff to like whatever bedazzle people.
Paul, you got a lot of background with reading legislation and how they're ramping up even more surveillance, right? With all these smart cities that they're
Yeah.
building and everything. What can you tell us about all this stuff? What do you think is being prepared by these governments?
Well, so any action can create a political precedent to pass a bill, right? And that's how the money moves. Money moves through budgetary means, and that's where you can always find what the plan is. I haven't really looked up the that particular
Yeah,
legislation and bill, right?
but they
But
all
what I
got
can,
patterns. They all got similar patterns, right?
oh yeah, dude, they're all written by a few different lobbying agencies, right? But like, let's think about it like this, right? Is at its core, the argument is TikTok is bad because the government of China can spy the state of China that is headed up by by the Communist Party of China can spy on American citizens and censor what they wish and broadcast what they wish based upon the interests of the Chinese state. And at its core, that says, why does this other app get to do what the American apps do without American
Mm-hmm.
consent? Which is fucking dumb to me. Like, it's just fucking dumb to me, right? Like, because we know what the US government can do through all of the PNAC era legislation, right? All of it from Patriot Act on, and all the shit that went on under Obama, right? With the debonair smile as he took away posse comitatus and all these other fucking things that like basically it's been legal to fucking spy on you as an American citizen for what 25 fucking years. So like what's the problem with China doing it? Like what's like I don't understand like what's the goddamn difference here? Like does anyone like is the problem that we have that that we're being spied on? Because if that's the case, every fucking one of the senators that and House members that pushed that bill are supporters of making permanent all the provisions of the Patriot Act. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's a double standard and it's political posturing, right? Like on the marketplace side, like imagine if you would have been caught up in the sell off and you sold off like before they said they were going to ban it, and then you bought while everyone dumped all the asset, and you then bought after and then after they said like, oh, we're just kidding, we're not going to ban it, right? Like, think about how much fucking money that somebody can make like that, right?
Hmm.
Through that market manipulation. So like I think that's definitely a factor, right? There's always money behind it, and I like to see what was happening through offshore accounts. But like, simple fact of the matter is that Singapore is a place where a lot of money is washed, like worldwide, right? So that's Chinese money, American money, fucking Russian money, African money, Arab money, um, anywhere in Southeast Asia money, like the black markets and the gray markets and the red markets and the pink markets and all the fucking shit goes through Singapore. So like the dude's from Singapore, so he's just like any other fucking like CEO gangster. He just happens to like be a CEO of TikTok that has a headquarters in Beijing, but like he's from Singapore, right? So he's a gangster, man. Like they he's a capitalist, right? Like he's an international finance capitalist. And like as far as banning TikTok, like if TikTok is that bad, just go ahead and let the American people be like, yeah, fucking, I don't want to use it. Or if they want to continue to use it, let them use it. Like, what the fuck business is it of the United States state apparatus to tell people what broadcasting streaming platforms that they're allowed to view and broadcast to? Like that creates a terrible fucking precedent, right? Because as soon as it becomes a precedent with TikTok, what can happen is they will do it with another app, and it will
Hmm.
go. It will then go to say that then that there's grounds for a First Amendment case, right? A First Amendment case, a Fourth Amendment case, and a Fifth Amendment case. Um, that the person, let's just say Rumble, right? Like I know Rumble's actually owned by fucking Palantir and all that other shit, so like I know that Rumble's not gonna fucking go under the knife, right? But like say like Rockfin or something, like any broadcasting network, right? Any type of broadcasting apparatus and streaming service, right? If they're able to take that case to the Supreme Court then it can then point back to the TikTok ban and say, actually, this is totally okay. It's a matter of national security, right? Which is just another way of saying they can get their foot in the door for future legislation. Don't give the government an inch because they will take 10 million fucking miles, right? So that's like a multifaceted answer to basically say it is the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard of. And the fact that people are lining up behind it is fucking pathetic.
You
Well, I
know,
mean, not banning TikTok or not severely curtailing it with the potential, change of ownership that's in the making right now. Well, I guess not doing that was never going to be an option the moment that people started discovering the simple fact that, oh, yeah, people don't seem to like Zionism on this app.
Hmm.
There's quite a lot of young people that are getting a bit too radicalized here and spreading ideas that are detrimental to American society. So, of course, some of the paragon of that being Zionism, because ultimately that's what sort of pulled the trigger in the direction of trying to ban TikTok. Um, but yeah, ultimately that's what it was about. It was never a case of, Chinese spyware and whatnot. Because like Polly said, they all fucking spy on you. It's just like,
Oh yeah.
it's just what you think I'm gonna trust one spyware over the other spyware because they were born within these completely arbitrary lines drawn by genocidal pedophiles 100 year more than 100 years ago. No, like I don't want Palantir data mining me any more than I don't want fucking, a European data mining the shit out of me or my family or my friends or whatnot. Or, a Chinese company or a Russian company or a fucking Nigerian company or a South African company or a Brazilian company or whatever. Like you get the gist. If they're going to data mine you, if they're going to be spying on you, through whatever means they do it, whether it's, like Prop said, just straight up fucking surveillance, like what a lot of the I don't want to get my papers messed up. I think it's Pandora Papers, not the Panama Papers, but like what the Pandora Papers revealed, and what the drops on the use of Israeli spyware against, like, various journalists in Eastern Europe and regimes that were kind of adversarial to the United States revealed. Like, whether it's through just flat out fucking spyware or surveilling you through your computer camera or your fucking phone camera, or even your TV, or whether it's, using the algorithm, how the algorithm favors certain content to generate your For You timeline and whatnot. Whether it's that or that, don't really want it happening. And I don't care what side of the bullshit ass border it comes from.
Why do you guys think that they were using the narrative that Trump is going to save TikTok? Is it just because it came with the timing of how it was like an election and he was going to be president? Was it just to generate support behind him? Why do you think it was that they were painting Trump as this savior of TikTok?
I mean,
because everyone has to paint Trump as the savior of everything all the fucking time.
Well, yeah, not to mention too, it's like it's for a similar reason, like how come Trump is issuing all these fucking executive orders when, he has the fucking courts and Congress literally in his favor. He has a majority, he has a majority in all three branches of the United States government, yet he's issuing executive orders, in part because ultimately the facade of democracy in the US is fading more and more. So we're just generally hurling towards fucking blatant authoritarianism and fascism and all that good stuff. But also because it's a PR boost. Like, it looks nice for Trump's base, for his administration, if he gets all this stuff done within the first week of his presidency, even though it would have fucking happened anyway, with, through more conventional means, like through Congress, since he has a majority in Congress, and B, it would have happened anyway under the fucking Biden administration. Because they're two sides of the same fucking coin at the end of the way. At the end of the day. Because Trump titles his executive orders differently, and because he feeds into that pendulum swing towards the right and just fucking blatant lack of empathy because woke or whatnot, then it's a PR boost for him.
You nailed it on the head when you said that, when you talked about the judges that he's got, right? So he knows the reason he's doing these because the executive orders are just quicker to do, right? If he has to, he does have majorities in the House and Senate, but he has to wait on the process. They have to go to the House and then it goes to the Senate. So, and he's like, fuck that shit. We're gonna cut out the middleman and do the executive orders. Oh, you're gonna take me to court? Oh, good luck with that. I own the judges, So it's just like, and he's just trying to fast track as much shit as he can in there, way more than he did before, because before he was trying to get reelected, right? And now there's no way he can't serve another term. He's a lame duck already, so he's going to do. I think he's going to do a lot more crazy shit than he did the last time, just because he knows he's only got 4 years left to do it.
I mean, I think he's going to do
the branches too, because I didn't have anything to do with that. That was an executive order.
That was the Trump era. Fuck.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just think going off what you said, it's the processes of the so-called democracy that we live in are just too slow at this point.
Too slow for democracy. We got to fast track that shit, baby. Time is money. We got to get the suppression on the way pronto. We ain't got time to wait around for this legal ass shit that the kids are talking about these days.
Yeah,
I seen a clip of him.
Sorry, go ahead, Prop.
I seen a clip of Trump like signing the orders or whatever, and he's like, he didn't even know what he was signing. They're like telling him
Ooh,
what he,
that's
and
a
he's like,
juicy one.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, dude, you're fucking clueless. That's so weird. And how
Dude,
does he have them all like lined up already? Like his team worked on them like years in advance. Like this fucking
Yeah, the Make
Yeah.
America Great Again Institute, that think tank that was formed by people that who hated people from think tanks to create the same exact fucking think tank that existed 25 fucking years ago that created PNAC with so like yeah, it was those guys that wrote the shit. Oh, now we're Project 2025. But if you read their shit, it's
Exactly.
fucking PNAC.
yeah,
It's neocon, and it was
yeah. It's
so
Yeah.
fucking
annoying because
Reagan
it's
shit.
like the thing with Project 2025 was like the discourse was so annoying because it's like liberals on one hand would be like fucking like fear mongering over it as if very similar shit wasn't happening under like currently under the Biden administration. And then all the fucking like dick riders, Trump dick riders and fucking like media were just like, well, I don't know why you guys are fear-mongering over this so much. Like this is policy, man. Like, did you actually read this? It's like, yeah, I did. It reads like a fucking white paper from PNAC, like what Paulie just said. Like it's shit. And it's just like like I just find it so interesting how like to go along with the theme of, America's facade of democracy just crumbling more and more. Like, they went from someone who was blatantly senile to a fucking reality TV actor.
Hmm.
And it's like you switched out puppet for puppet. You're just rubbing it in, but people
So
are falling for it.
not
well,
only are
technically,
they
Oh
taking
man.
advantage of like Trump's current popularity, but they're also taking advantage of the
Mhm.
tech bro popularity and the cult following that these people like Elon Musk, and now they're trying to like it seems like they're trying to groom or prepare Mark Zuckerberg for to have a cult
Bro,
following.
so
Is
weird.
it to condition
Dark
people to
Zuck.
like accept TikTok to be bought by one of these guys? Right now, like, what's the company that's in the front line? It's like Perplexity. I can't. Oh yeah, Perplexity.
I've heard Oracle's name floated around too, which is again Oracle being
That's the
Perplexity
fucking
AI
AI.
company. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, these are creepy. Like all the new phones have like Windows has what was it called? Fuck, I can't remember. But all the new versions of the cell phones are gonna have this like AI programming in it where like you know how like it would go through your pictures and then like collage them and like show you like a highlight from whatever like a last year at this time or some shit like that. It's gonna be like that, but with like everything, and then like unlock your phone with AI and like all yeah, just like so intrusive and fucking I feel like that's what the big thing is. It's not about them spying on us or whatever. Like they don't give a fuck if China watches us or anything. Like, what are they gonna learn? Some political stuff that we talk about? It's like they probably already heard fucking everything.
Yeah.
They want your fucking information to like advance AI and all this shit.
To make it more
And like,
predictable,
yeah,
predictive. To make AI more predictive, right?
yeah,
Well, and speaking of AI, I mean the power that requires. There's like, and since the Biden administration, there's been this ongoing push to essentially recolonize the Western United States with with huge fucking data centers. So it's like I remember right at the end of the Biden administration, he basically put out they were basically floating this initiative that was saying, yeah, all federally owned land can be used to again house these data centers. So if you have a fucking, if you're in the Western United States and you have a nice, blooming desert ecosystem that's supporting some endangered tortoise, forget about that shit. You gotta
yeah.
fucking You gotta fucking power the incoming AI technology.
Well, they're trying to buy nuclear power plants too. You hear that too, like
That too.
Microsoft trying to buy all these power plants for these AI data centers too. And did you hear too about the you know how you can't get TikTok on the Apple store or what's the other, the Google, the Play Store? You can't get those now, right? But there is a market for cell phones on eBay. You can purchase, if you want to sell your phone that has the app still on it, they're buying them for like
Yeah,
thousands
they're
of
selling. I saw they're
Oh,
dollars.
selling them for
trippy.
Are you
thousands of dollars.
serious? Oh
It's
my God.
ridiculous. Yeah, because if you did, because some of these fools, they deleted. They were like, "Oh well, it's done in America. Let's delete the app." I'm like, "Come on, man. You know there's always the end credit scene. What are you
Yeah.
doing, man? Don't you just hang on to it?" And sure enough, all those fools that deleted it, now they're going back to the things that they're like, "Hey, man, it ain't on the
You're
dang
gonna let
Apple
these
Store."
square-faced politicians bully you into deleting the app? Fucking please, bro.
Oh,
Like,
everybody's
So
so
what?
fucking scared. That's like they were just like they probably peed their pants when they heard the ban anyway.
Why
They're
do you
like,
guys
"Hey,
think that
get
they?
off the phone."
Why do you guys think that they banned it for like 12 hours or however long it was, where people in the U.S. couldn't use it? Even some people in other countries who had like a phone that they got from the U.S. or like a U.S. SIM card weren't able to get into the app. Even like people part in like parts of Canada and parts of Mexico or other parts of Latin America couldn't use it. But why did they have that pause? Was it all for theater?
I think so.
Could be, man. It could be like it was so weird to see. I was like, damn, bro. It was like super depressing. I was like, fuck the government, man.
Yeah, people were really
Fucking
mad and people were flocking over to Red Note. And my question to you guys is it was interesting to see how people were learning from each other. People from China were learning from people from the U.S. Um, and people were making friends with each other on there. But was all this like was this like did the U.S. government and these corporations did they know that that was going to happen? Was this orchestrated? What do you guys think about that? Or was
My,
this all just something completely unexpected that we all just that the
but
people just did?
how
why
many
Red
pe
Note? Why Red Note in particular is my question. Is why are they? I mean, because there's other apps, right? There's
Yeah.
other Chinese apps that are similar to that too. So why Red Note? So there's that. And like, who was the one that said, "Come on, y'all, we're going to Red Note. Fuck TikTok." You know, who was that guy or gal
That
or
probably
whoever?
started out as a fucking meme and then
Patient
it became a
Zero?
reality.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Because it's like it started out as a thing, where essentially like people who weren't necessarily like fully, in tune to how much of an op it all was, but who knew that it was supposedly being banned because it was Chinese spyware. They were like, well, fuck you. I'm just gonna go ahead and download a Chinese app. And then
Yeah, I
and
even
then
seen
yeah.
Republicans and conservatives do it just for like shits and giggles.
Yeah, but it was, I don't know, it was just weird though, because it's like nothing wrong with people like, because there were quite a few people that were like genuinely interacting on Reddit, and I have no problem with that. But like, there was also like, it was when the media got involved that it just got really fucking lame. Because it's like, on one hand, you had like your typical neocons who were like, oh, I'm gonna repost the Tiananmen Square, that picture of the Tiananmen Square on this fucking,
Which
Qingling
happened in Lebanon
spyware
this
until I
morning,
get
by the way.
banned. Yeah, exactly. You had people fucking posting that like tank picture from Tiananmen Square until they got banned. And then on the other half, you had people that were like, ooh, tee, look at me, guys. I know I'm talking on Twitter about this, but like I have an account on Rednote and like I'm gonna screenshot every base thing someone says on there and post it on my American social media for like clout and likes. Cause like I'm so communist. And it's like you
Yeah,
had
the fucking
it was weird.
the luxury vehicles and shit, and people are like oogling over how awesome China is, and I'm like that looks like some income inequality to me, bro. Fucking dudes and like fuck, there was like a clip of like five supercars, and then people were just like paparazzi surrounding him and stuff, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm
And,
like,
well,
this seems a lot like America. And I'm like, that's like, and these are a lot of the parts of America that really depress me, that create like the overconsumption and like just like gluttony kind of thing. And I'm not saying that like people like them, I'm not saying that they haven't pulled people out of poverty and all this other stuff, but there's still just that like capitalist hierarchical shit going on. And I just don't like it.
It's those Chinese characteristics of socialism, bro. Kill it
Yeah.
2 times.
Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah. Or so they say.
I've had a pretty good I thought of it as a social experiment, right? So I got on there
Yeah,
and I
that's
wanted
the
to
word
see
I'm
what it
going
was,
with.
right? And for a little backstory about Red Note. So initially this app was like a teeny bopper app, right? It was for teen girls actually, right? You know, with their favorite whoever their favorite Chinese pop stars or whatever on there, right? And then it became more of and then all of a sudden these Americans showed up and all these teeny boppers were like, the fuck y'all come from? Oh, hey. And then, but then there was like actual dialogue going on,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
people asking, it was the questions that were great, right? They were just like, in China, you know, because that's what you'd see when you scroll through, you would see these placards for the videos that would say like, in China, what do you like to do for fun? What kind of movie, you know?
Yeah, how much
And it
are
was
your
just
groceries?
right, yeah, it was all these like questions, and then when they found out how Americans were living, and they were like, "Wow, your healthcare system is like that," and you get paid what you get, you know, and it's just like, yeah. So I mean, to Prop's point, yeah, it probably is some income inequality because it's their brand of capitalism, and it may not be American capitalism,
Well,
but
it
it's
is.
Still, it's
still
It's
fucking
like
capitalism,
America. It's like America in the 50s and 60s kind of era. That's what it reminds me of.
right?
Build
Because
those high rises.
I
Fucking
remember
have dudes dangling off the high rises. Fucking
I
kind of
remember
shit.
I remember like news reports coming out of China, you know, when I was a little kid, you know, and there was like no McDonald's, there was no like any of these like corporations, you know, American corporations and shit like that. And that's when you were hearing like all this, you know, a lot of these horror stories, but you know, it could be most of it could have been propaganda too. But, you know, now it's like they've mixed this capitalism in with the communism. I mean, I'm not a big expert on China. You know, I just like the food. It's delicious. I know that sounded racist, but it was not meant to be. I do love Chinese food. Fuck
I
yeah.
think that it's cool because like Discord is, we use Discord and it's some corporate shit spy app, but like you can meet people around the world and like learn about the world and stuff. So I'm not like, if you do it for that reason, I think it's really cool. But you have to be like go into it realizing that like you're being
Yeah.
spied on and like
I just think,
don't like post your pictures of your family and
And
stuff
yeah.
they
like
have their
that.
own
And like,
algorithms that are going to steer you to their agenda, like just
Yeah.
like
yeah,
these ones, right?
yeah,
And just
Yeah.
know that there is an agenda too, right? That's the
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled
Yeah.
and, you know, stay frosty because fuckery's always afoot. They're always trying to get something out of you. Ass, grass, or gas. Nobody rides for free,
I
right?
just think you
So
have to be cognizant of that with like every social media platform because we're kind of
everything.
at, yeah,
yeah.
well, everything, but you know, in particular with social media, just because like we're at a point, you know, with the internet where fucking so much of it is compromised that it's like you kind of just have to, in some respects, you kind of just have to take it as is because, you know, like you guys have been saying there are like a lot of interesting things you can, you know, learn from people on social media. There is a lot of like, you know, not just learning across like different cultures, but also like it's a way to kind of keep in contact with like people in your community. Like I'm kind of ashamed to admit this, but like I I some every now and then I go on to fucking Fedbook because there are, you know, quite a few people in the specifically in the Miccosukee tribal community here in Florida who whose, you know, main avenue of social media is Fedbook. So it's like if I want to keep up with what events they're putting on, it's like I kind of have to go to those like Facebook community groups and whatnot. And
Mhm.
it's like, the same way I might keep going on TikTok to see what people there are saying, or like the same way I'll keep watching like fucking, I don't know, British parkour guys on YouTube, or the same way that like I'll keep talking to everyone on Discord. It's just like it's there. You kind of have to take it as is, and then be aware of the fact that realistically the only like non-compromised form of communication you can have is if you're talking to someone who's good at keeping secrets that you trust, and you're in the middle of the fucking woods with no technology present. So, but
Yeah.
like the odds of you being able to have a conversation like that all the fucking time between, work and life and, any other activism and organizing you're doing is slim. So yeah.
Yes, it's good for keeping in touch and like, but also being conscious about the realities of these apps and what they're used for behind the scenes. But you also want to keep in touch with what people are saying in the times.
Hmm.
So yeah, 100%. I wanted to show you guys this because this ties into what Prop was saying. Um, can you? Oh, I'm not sharing my screen to you guys over there on Zoom, but I'm showing it right now on YouTube if you guys want to see it. But and I sent this to you guys a while ago, like in our Discord. But this is like in response to this one tweet that this guy put up about how the U.S. government bans TikTok, then a bunch of Zoomers go into Chinese social media and get radicalized by actual Chinese propaganda. And then someone responds to this and says, "Brother, do you know what XHS is? XHS is what they call Red Note in China. In China, it is known broadly as the rich kid Instagram app. Now, if U.S. teens started flocking to Kuaishou, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and linking up with peasants and workers and comedians who make the corniest videos of all time, then we'd be cooking with gas. Kuaishou is also the spot to go for premier Chinese hobo talk." And so there's a lot of people sharing videos of people from China who are homeless. But yeah, this ties in like there's income inequality. This is the stuff that is not being presented like on the forefront in Red Note. So we must also be conscious, like all these people that are like going on to Red Note, they think that China is like some utopia. And we know that there's some commentators out there, some that want to paint China as this utopia. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It's just roses.
Hey man, sometimes you just need some of that Xi Jinping, you know what I mean?
I was
Right.
about to say too, if I remember that meme correctly, then it was like the picture of like fucking Xi Jinping with like
With his
the
chin.
fucking like Chad chin or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and it's like, dog, do you know
It
who
said do
Xi
nothing
Jinping
when.
is? Have you listened to like to like an unedited extended talk from Xi Jinping? Or honestly, or any dentist for that matter. Like they're all fucking capitalist fucks.
Yeah,
Um,
dude, Xi Jinping is like a gangster, man. He is a fucking gangster.
hmm
So you guys want to give
So
more
yeah.
give people who don't know more context about it?
I
Well, Xi
mean,
Jinping
Yeah.
and his
And his
gangsterism.
relations with his business relations with like the US, with the TPP. What
Yeah.
can you guys inform the audience about that?
I can give a case study that kind of illuminates the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to call it a case study. That's kind of a shitty thing to say, but pretty much look at China's position towards Palestine.
Mhm.
It's a lot of lip service, it's a lot of posturing, but when it comes to cutting off their support for the Zionist occupation, they're still one of their top trade partners. They still want to make sure that, that good old Belt and Road Initiative has a stake in places like Haifa. they still deliver drones as, as recent as early 2024, they were delivering drones to the Zionist occupation. Because ultimately what it is about is that it's about maintaining their capital interests in the region.
And
Uh,
Israel is a sure bet for capital interests.
yes,
Arab freedom, meh.
not so much.
A federal Arab republic,
Can't
Yeah.
have that. Got to have that Greater Israel project, man. Come on, Greater Israel.
you got to
Exactly.
make Israel greater again, from the Euphrates to the Nile.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
mega, make
Mega.
Mega.
MIGA, make
MIGA.
Israel, yeah,
Megan, because he
make
brought up the
Israel,
Nile.
make
N for
Israel
Nile.
genocidal again,
Yeah.
Because again, they were genocidal
and
from
again, and
inception.
again, and
Right.
again, and
Yeah.
Well,
again, and again.
yeah, like, and I mean, is as far as like Chinese capital goes, it wraps the fucking world, man. Like they have capital interests everywhere, right?
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
have their own fucking stock market and their own billionaires and their own CEOs and their own boards of the billionaire boards that are of massive international finance capital and also production capital and speculative capital, right? They're capitalists. And if they're capitalists,
Yeah.
then they're fucking gangsters, right?
Look at their
And
activities on the African continent because everybody likes to wax lyrical about, oh, did you see China built a fucking bridge and it built a fucking highway? It's like, you know who else did that? The fucking British. Like,
yeah, you
like,
build infrastructure in a country that you wish to exploit the
yes,
natural resources from, right? And then
yes,
also like the ownership contracts, right? Like I want to say it was Angola, and I forgive me, I haven't looked up this fact in a long time, but I think it was Angola,
it
and
probably
China
was.
agreed to build a rail system and a port or some shit,
It was
and
Angola, yeah.
yeah, it was Angola, right? And the stipulations of the contract was China China as a state entity owns 50%, and the other 50% is owned by the Chinese capital that invested the money for the next 300 fucking years, and the port as well, right? So like, yeah, they built infrastructure in there that they own. That
yeah,
sounds a lot to me like the original Panama Canal Agreement between the US and the French, right? Back in 1910, because it was definitely, Panama was definitely belonged to the fucking French to be able to fucking make a deal with the US. But notwithstanding that, I mean, it's they do the same kind of fucking deals, right? Because here's the juxtaposition, right? Is either the Americans are going to come and take this and bomb the fuck out of it, or you can let us take it and we'll build up some infrastructure for you and
And
maybe
off
bring up your
sometimes they'll even do it in conjunction with fucking European companies. Like I think it
yeah.
was the East African oil pipeline. I haven't checked on the status in that in a while, so my information is a bit dated, but like that project that was a collaborative project between Chinese oil companies and fucking Total Energies, which is a French company. So
Yeah.
like there's cross collaboration and like in the there's also been all kinds of like shady business practices between both, American, European, and Chinese companies to try and secure some of the mineral supply chains on the African continent. Because again, you've got to have those rare earth minerals to build your good old smart city infrastructure and also, get all those electrical vehicles and stuff. Not to mention
Which
too,
is
the fucking
terrible for the
Chinese
fucking environment.
yeah, and Chinese mining
Especially
companies too are in hot fucking water right now for illegal gold mining in the Congo, which is just polluting the shit out of the environment. And that's not the only place either.
right.
So,
I
The
feel
Central
that like
African Republic is really is become like a desolate wasteland in most of the places where they mine the gold, and that's like the Central African Republic is where is I think, been a long time since I looked up that either, but I think it's like the first gold exporter in the world. I think they have the largest gold like futures in on planet Earth.
mhm.
yeah.
Well, and now you see it happening to Sudan.
Yeah.
I mean, countries. The thing is you can always tell because countries which never had any sort of domestic supply of gold suddenly start exporting their own gold. That's what happened with fucking Uganda and Rwanda stealing gold from the Congo Rwanda especially, don't even get me started on Paul Kagame's bitch ass, honestly. But like Uganda and Rwanda, funding M23 rebels and other militias in the Congo and then stealing their resources. And now, again, to bring it back to Sudan real quick, UAE backing the RSF so that way they could take some of that gold and make some, pretty jewelry for some fuckhead Instagram influencer in Dubai. So it's like the blood gold is like a story as old as time,
Wait, isn't the
unfortunately.
RSF the good guy because they're fighting against the West?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is people don't like so if China's really good now, well, what happens when Xi Jinping dies or fucking the next administration and so on and so forth? What if shit just turns into like a imperialist fucking uh war fucking mongering country that has fucking this huge trade route across the world? It's like I think it's just a stupid idea to support, and I think that you should let Africa uh do what do as they please and just like leave these countries alone instead of they're kind of like just like they're westernizing these countries because fucking if you look at China, all the shit they build is like dams that destroy fucking rivers, the same as fucking America and Canada and all these other countries.
And then the mining for all these resources that they use to build those dams and everything that they're doing, right? It's going to require
Yeah.
resources. And in order to attain those resources, they're going to have to destroy the environment. And where are they in destroying the environment? They're doing it in other countries
They're
most of
just
the
way
time.
better at PR. Like they're killing it at PR with the
Oh
whole
Well,
yeah.
they
green with
also
the green stuff
let's
and we're shit in the bed with the green stuff when before our governments were able to like promote it a little better. But now like Elon Musk, even though he's like all about like the greenwashing stuff still, he's like anti-greenwashing and he's like anti uh environmental stuff, even though he's like
It's just so
forefronts all
fucking
that like fake ass shit.
it's so fucking stupid because Elon's over here like, yeah, fuck the climate change narrative and fuck fuck Green New Deal. And it's like, dog, like the greenwashing that gets advanced by those narratives is like literally Tesla.
Yeah,
Like
you're think
Tesla
Yeah.
you
is a
funded those
poster
think tanks.
child.
Yeah.
not pretend like he didn't get all those fucking billions of dollars in fucking taxpayer money so that he could fucking have his green new cars. Like, go on, man. Like,
Bruh,
He's a
seeing
leech.
those fucking cyber trucks around, I fucking like I'll swerve at them and I'll like flip them, fucking stick my finger out the window. I'm like, no way, bro. You drive one of those, you're getting treated like shit. Until
You
they're one of my
should. It looks
customers or something,
fucking
and then I roll up and
stupid.
I'm like,
It looks like the Homer Simpson car when like he met his
yes,
half brother and he said, "Here, design a car," and he had the shit with the bubble and then the
Hunky Herb.
fins and like and this fucking actually this fucking truck kind of looks like some shit out of RoboCop, right? Like all these like this smooth
yeah.
metal, like the
Yeah.
poor man's DeLorean, and then it's just like and oh my god, and it's just the ugliest fucking thing I've
There's
ever
a lot of
seen, too.
mechanical issues with it too. Like these cars aren't even designed by actual like mechanics. They're designed um, by IT people pretty much, like tech people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just vehicles, period, right now are just going downhill. Like so many recalls and all this crazy shit where it's like dangerous ass fucking vehicles. Like Tesla's fucking wheels were coming off. They're fucking they're like
Shit.
wheels were breaking. All the spokes on the wheels were like breaking, and then it was just this fucking wheel dragging. Yeah, it's so
They
crazy.
make, they make those wheels out of candy at Tesla because it's when you break down, why not have a delicious moment and treat yourself while you wait on AAA because your young ass doesn't know how to change a fucking tire.
It's just, well, the thing is too is like people aren't even driving cars anymore. They're driving fucking computers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, because like I've seen what the inside of a Tesla looks like, and it's like I just can't imagine anybody who's like, oh yeah, my driving experience is enhanced when there's a big ass fucking computer monitor in the middle of my dashboard. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what?
So he's like a grifter pretty much, because the whole thing about Tesla being like a green electric car, leeching off of the left wing of the country, right?
Yeah.
Grifting off of them. But now
Yeah.
the popularity shifted toward the right wing, the Trump following,
Yeah,
and so
well, I
now
mean,
he's
he's
grifting
going
off of
full
that.
Bauer now.
The daddy following.
And we see that with online commentators, right? They start out supporting Bernie, and then they shift towards leeching off of the people who are criticizing Bernie. And then they start leeching off of the Andrew Tates and the Red Pill community and all of those people, wherever it's more popular. And they find a way to move their audience towards that direction. And that's what
Yeah.
Elon Musk does with his followers. He's shifted them toward the right wing.
Well, like,
And it's all out there on display. Like you go back on any of these people's YouTube channels or Twitter lines and like see what they say about shit and you're like, "Oh yeah, Mr. fucking Mr. MAGA and now you're fucking not MAGA kind of shit or you're fucking yeah." There's so many instances fucking and Elon Musk, he's fucking dude tweets his life away. I guarantee fucking 3 months ago you could find like him changing his narrative from what he's saying now.
Well, now
Yeah.
he's got a seat at the table too, because he's in that bullshit Doge whatever.
Oh,
shit
now
that
he's got a
Trump
seat at the table.
Right,
Dude,
now
he's been part of the PayPal mafia for fucking 25 years, man.
Well, I mean,
I-
like an actual seat at the table, like in
Yeah,
government,
in
right?
the public, yeah, in the public's
Mhm.
fucking eye, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Well,
know,
where he
so-
gets to be worshipped now. He's out of the shadows.
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
him
now
and that,
they're gonna
and-
build fucking now they're gonna build the statues of Elon Musk in fucking in Decentraland, the new Meta AI fucking virtual reality platform. Like,
Oh god.
just like in Futurama, you know, they probably did that shit too. You know,
oh
so-
yeah, dude. It's like it's like, do you guys remember that movie Rat Race or It's a Mad World, right?
Oh yeah.
Where there's like all these rich people that are like betting on the dumb shit that these people are gonna do for a buck, and they're all like just taking bets and laughing about how like fucking crazy these people go, right? Like, isn't it like a cool thought to think that they're not malevolent? They're just like a bunch of fucking jackass rich people that are betting on what's gonna be the most ridiculous fucking thing that we do next, man.
That's
All right.
like that's
Now,
like in
I'm gonna
Squid Game.
I'm gonna go from like the
Yep.
savior of the world because of my green technology cars to fucking throwing a Sieg Heil at fucking inauguration. Let's see
God.
what happens there.
Well, think about it. He's got more money than he knows what to do with, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's going to grift, it's not going to be for money. I mean, if he does, it's just going to be chump change. It's to feed his ego, right? And to, like I
Yeah.
said, to get an actual seat at the table. So that's why he was sucking Trump's dick to get in there. So he could, and now he does. So now his egomaniacal thing with the head chips and all this other stuff. Now he can plant that dumb shit into Trump's head, like directly, and then because Trump doesn't run shit, Biden didn't run shit. It's all the handlers and stuff that's running shit, right? And they talk to the powers that be, and they get their orders, and then they tell the puppets, right? Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, well, and Trump, he attracted like such a cult of personality that in a sense he became like the perfect vehicle for so many of these policies because it's like that's why for him now is like a good time to just like accelerate all this bullshit because it's like what are the people who voted for him gonna do? They're not gonna do shit. They're gonna sit there and try to explain away, being like, well, I'm not being political. I'm just being analytical here. I know I voted for him. I know I know I sucked his dick, but like, and you're gonna have all kinds of motherfuckers trying to explain this shit away because of the cult of personality that formed around Trump going back to 2016 that was only strengthened by 2020 because, like, obviously, fucking obviously, the 2020 election was bullshit, okay? Guess what? all American elections are bullshit. Maybe the 2020 election probably slightly more bullshit than most other elections. Yes. But you're going to try and tell me now that 2020 was the only rigged election because your guy fucking lost? Because that's where the whole stop the steal. That's where like genuine concerns about election rigging just transformed into this fucking stop the steal bullshit, because it was like, instead of being like, hey, you know what, our elections are pretty bullshit, people were like, no, it was stolen from Trump. And
And
that
we had a
only
leg to
strengthened
stand
his
on. It was
yeah,
like,
and that only strengthened
Right.
his cult of personality over the 4 years while Biden was office, because Lord knows that man and Kamala couldn't form a fucking, similar cult of personality if they tried. So, now you do have someone, with his uh, with as fervent as support that Trump gets. So, a lot of this stuff can just slide on right by.
There wasn't enough energy behind the Kamala and Biden movement. There was a lot that energy with Obama, and that's why they went with him to as a vehicle, right, to install some
Mm.
more um, oligarchical power to these people and to pass all these legislation that was going to harm us and benefit the corporations during that time. And now, yeah, the popularity is not with the Democrats. The popularity is with Trump and all these people that can be used to brainwash all these people, brainwash all these supporters.
Yeah.
what do you guys think about the fucking Nazi stuff or whatever?
The
Like,
sa-
I
the
think
salute?
the salute was fucking like a dog whistle.
That was a
Like,
fucking foghorn, bro.
yeah,
Foghorn. It was a foghorn leghorn.
yeah, bro.
Yeah, that was like
Okay.
the
Let me
the
give
blimp
you
at the
like
Super
some like
Bowl with the thing, the big giant message.
It's a blimp.
yeah,
Yeah.
like let me give you a little bit of backstory and shit that I didn't really think about until my wife told me. He ref-
That's so
he
cute.
refers to himself as Asperger's, right? Like that he has Asperger's or an Aspie, right? Asperger's has not been in the DSM-5 for quite some years now because Asperger was a Nazi scientist that was responsible for the murder of several other neurodivergent people by the magnitude of hundreds of thousands, if not millions,
Oh wow.
right?
Whoa.
So they took Asperger out of the fucking DSM-5 on purpose because there's something that's like called Asperger supremacism that says we're smarter than everyone else, we're rather high functioning, and we're able to channel all of that neurodivergent energy into being basically fucking superhumans, and everyone else is inferior.
Yeah.
So the fact that we have a South African emerald slaver that stole all of his money from the South African people, okay? Then was inducted into the PayPal mafia and has been a welfare queen for 25 fucking years. Happens to refer to himself as as Asperger's, right? And then he throws a Nazi salute. I think that what he's saying is, I am superior to all. And if you're with me, then you are superior as well.
Yeah.
That's the best
That's
interpretation
a
of it I've
very
heard.
good point. I mean, for me, it was enough just to know that he was, fucking South African emerald miner and a fucking billionaire. But that adds another dimension to it for fucking
Mm-hmm.
sure.
I seen this guy that did this like video where the amount of words he said after and then the phrase that he said was very similar to a Nazi phrase, and then he said a certain amount of words after that which led up to like a certain amount of letters, which was
What,
88.
1488 or what?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 1488.
And I,
Jesus
like
Christ.
sometimes some of that shit is so coincidentally, it's like could just be people fucking pulling on strings. But I was like, oh my god, dude, that makes me think of it
Words-
like a little
Well,
bit
I mean-
Words
more,
are
like,
spells, right?
Yeah.
Words are magic.
Words are definitely spells.
Yeah.
What you commanded the universe is a manifesting spell, right?
Shit
No,
blew my
guys,
mind.
calm down. The ADL told us it was just an innocent gesture in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, that was.
I
Because
guess
everybody
listening to
knows
people.
that Zionists can't be
I got a
Nazis,
bridge to sell
okay,
the ADL,
guys?
those sons of bitches, those motherfuckers, those evil bastards, the fucking American Defamation League. Go fuck yourself
Yeah.
with a fucking hot knife.
They can work with Nazis. They just can't be Nazis. That's just kind of the thing.
Well,
'cause it's like a dress
listen,
code. Kind of.
maybe not all Zionists were Nazis, but let me tell you, there were quite a few prominent Nazis who were Zionists.
That's true. That's like putting your peanut butter and the chocolate together, only it's Nazis and Zionists, and it tastes horrible. It's not candy. Don't eat it.
Expired Reese's.
It is. It's feces.
Oh.
Reese's feces. it's pure shit. Right from his arse.
Yeah. Well, and not to
Ugh.
mention too, I've been like I like regrettably looked to see what some like fucking, prominent Jewish Zionist influencers were saying about the whole like Nazi Elon Musk thing, and their take was just like, listen, it just really hurts that so many people are focusing on this one gesture from Elon Musk as opposed to all the people that were like worshiping Hamas out in the
Oh my
streets. And it's
goodness.
like,
Hamas.
Jesus Christ.
Don't forget
Oh,
you gotta add in the Hamas.
Yeah.
My Uncle Murray said he was shooing a fly. My
Oh.
Uncle Murray would never lie to me about these things. Elon Musk, he said, there's flies in here. Get away from me. Get away, Zig Heil. Zig Heil
No,
with
he was
the
he
flies.
was giving his
Or you are
heart.
so fucking canceled, bro.
Oh,
He
guys,
was giving his heart.
there's one person who's not getting enough attention here. Oh wow, look at that. Yeah, there's one guy who's not getting enough attention here, and that's who like a lot of people on TikTok were blaming for like the ban, and who a lot of the politicians were putting their money in, and that's the owner of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg. A lot of politicians were investing into Meta, like buying stocks. And then right before the ban, I was getting notifications saying to link my Facebook account onto TikTok, and so many other people were getting that message too. What do you guys think is going on there? Is there a collaboration there with Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg and the CEO of TikTok and Elon Musk? What's going on?
I think it's a possibility. I mean, I won't say for certain just because I know there are like a few potential buyers for TikTok, all of them being, virtually CIA cutouts essentially. But, with Zuckerberg, it would make sense just because of the reaches, the areas that the tentacles of fucking Meta can reach. Not to mention too, it must have been weeks ago or even maybe a month or two ago now, but essentially we all know he went on Joe Rogan and basically gave like, his wishy-washy fucking, oh, I'm sorry for censoring, guys. I never really wanted to censor. I'm
Oh,
getting rid of the
bro.
fact checker. And then everybody was like, all right, you're good.
He's jumping
Zucky."
shift. He's
Like,
jumping ship
He's jumping ship. He
to
saw his
grift for
ways.
other people.
Yeah, bro, he went on fucking Daddy Rogan. He must be good now. He went on the fucking ultimate signaler of what we can say now, so it must be good. The moment he went on Joe
Good.
Rogan, I was like, okay. It's a
Yeah.
signal.
Yeah, I don't really trust the Joe Rogan experience. It
He's
just seems
sold
like,
out. Or
yeah, I
maybe he was
mean,
always sold out.
I mean, anybody who's that popular saying what he says and is allowed to say it, and then not only that, is getting paid millions and millions of dollars to do it. I'm a little skeptical.
Bananas.
I got a little bit of skepticism, right? Just a little teeny tiny thing of skepticism because I don't trust rich people at all. I don't really care if you're nice. I'm sorry, but I don't trust you. Good luck with the money, though.
Someone said Mariana in the comments said Joe Rogan is the View for bros.
That's pretty fucking accurate.
That's spot on.
That's pretty fucking accurate.
The view for the bros.
Oh, that's my pal Mariana. You so stupid, Mariana. Why you say that? You stupid.
Hey, so stupid, Mariana.
You stupid. You're not
Mariana,
coming
you're
to
so
the
stupid.
barbecue. You stupid.
You're stupid.
I love Mariana. She's great. So,
Mhm.
but that is funny. Yeah, it is. It's just like, let's talk about DMT. Oh yeah, let's talk about some politics. What? Yeah. I can't even remember the last time I watched. The only time I ever watch is when he has Graham Hancock and we talk about the younger Dryas, and that's the only time I ever like watching that shit because I love that you know what kind of crazy history shit when he has him and what's his face, that other guy, that the big heavy set dude, and they're always talking, yeah, the younger Dryas back 12,000 years ago, Joe, this big giant meteor came down and wiped out the ice sheets. Yeah, and you're just, but other than that, like the other shit, I don't really give a fuck about. Joe
I
Rogan.
think that ultimately is like part of the argument though for, Rogan being effectively like mainstream media at this point is because he
Mhm.
hosts like a whole plethora of people. So like,
Yeah.
there are people who only watch Rogan to listen to fucking archaeologists or to listen to some fucking I don't know, fucking carnivore doctor talk about why we should only eat fucking bison testicles or whatever. Like, like you can find that range on the Joe Rogan show, and then every once in a while he'll just flat out have on like a fucking CIA agent, and they'll be spewing like the most horrendous propaganda ever, and he'll just be sitting there like, oh yeah, really? Oh,
That's super interesting.
really?
Wow.
That's so interesting. And it's like that's when you're like, interesting. And then it also comes in instances like, when Zuckerberg comes on, or like in 2021 when he had someone on to talk about ivermectin. And then conveniently right after, a bunch of other major YouTube channels started talking about, ivermectin and the
Yeah.
COVID narrative without getting fucking demonetized. And it's like, that's another signal. So like, every once in a while he has those people on where certain events follow that you have to be like, okay, surely his podcast was a signal for something.
Yeah.
He's been co-opted.
Oh, yeah.
Don't those CIA agents have podcasts now? I know. I see like that. There's some guy. I don't know what he does. He does like some sort of talk show thing with people, and he's like a Navy SEAL or something like that. You're starting to see more and more like military people having these podcasts and talking about the good old days of war. When you used to pop, 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 and stuff like that.
Back before the damn army took over.
But before you had them cell phones, they could see all the atrocities you was committing. Shit, we used to get away with everything, man. Woo, we murdered the fuck out of people.
Yeah, man, before all these
We're
guys
men, we're
got
men.
into the military.
Shit, I cut off my own testicles and serve them up just like Joe Rogan.
You hit the nail on the head there when you said he's become mainstream media.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
lot of people
propaganda
get their-
evolves, right?
Yeah, a lot of people get the news from him. That's
He's being like that though. Like he's fucking.
It was
like-
more subtle before. And there was like things that he would say was like challenging the mainstream, but now it's like no one listens to the mainstream. Now he's the mainstream.
But that's the same as like the Rising or whatever.
Yeah.
Where they have this veneer of like we're independent.
Yeah.
Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And it's like, yeah, but
But
you
they were always
literally
You
run
also
fucking
platformed.
liberal nuts and you fucking only support the Democrats. And You're
Yeah.
still promoting Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Or
Like,
like
Kyle
the wave-
Kalinske will do all these fucking things about fucking how
Yeah.
shitty Trump is, and in comparison, he'll be like, "Well, Biden did this and Biden did that," and it's like Biden's a piece of shit. It's like fucking. It's called the banality of evil. Fucking bad people can do good things, and fucking good people can do bad things. You dumbass.
Well, we can all
Fuck.
agree here too that independent media has become mainstream media.
Oh yeah.
Also.
Well,
Just
I
media,
mean,
man.
Just
if
media.
like if this wave of fucking like, former mainstream or legacy media hosts and like entering the podcast space and having their own independent shows, like I don't know how many people didn't take it as an obvious sign when Tucker Carlson started his own fucking podcast. It's like dude was rejected from joining the CIA. Mind you, his fucking daddy worked for CIA media pretty much. And it's like I thought it was
Was he
obvious that
rejected or was that a cover story?
well, exactly. That's why I put it in quotes. And then not to mention too, like the moment Tucker Carlson like got his podcast, he started doing interviews with like fucking with like what's his face? Javier Milei, Viktor Orban, fucking I think he talked to Serbia's Aleksandar Vucic too, and it's like these are literally stereotypical like anti-communist neoliberal fuckheads that the CIA would be boosting via covert operations in the fucking 70s. And this dude is just interviewing them in 2024 and y'all are not picking up on any of it. The dude fucking, who was it? I think he interviewed one of Haiti's former prime ministers. I think it was a Lamoth or one of those guys. And I was like, fucking kidding me? I remember getting so pissed, and I was just like, yo, get off this man's dick, bro. And like, Tucker's not the only one, obviously. You had other people like fucking Don Lemon starting their own podcast, and yeah,
Chris Cuomo.
yeah, Chris Cuomo and whatever. The fucking it's not CNN anymore. It's the Chris Cuomo show. It's like, okay, yeah,
Well,
sure. I
like-
totally believe you're independent now because you make your name the show.
That's like having a house party and then they just moved it to the basement because that's the thing. They're polluting the space with that shit. But I mean, it's not like people forgot who they were before, right? Oh, I'm doing a podcast now. I'm independent. It's like, no, bitch, we know what you were doing before. Like the real ones who know that could see through all the propaganda were like, yeah, we see what you're doing now. Now you're just a grifting son of a bitch. But before you were a propaganda piece of shit for the man. So, I don't trust any of these fools that come from there into this space.
Or people came into this space honestly, and then now they're shilling fucking Rumble coffee and fucking garbage like that. And I
Or
think it's
powdered
just-
celery like Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore sells powdered celery.
What? Jimmy Dore was shilling a fucking like $6,000 vibrating plate. Like
Yeah.
Shake weight for your
For your feet, right? Yeah, for your feet, the feet plate.
yeah.
And
Well, I mean-
here's the thing though, like because I saw that it was like a 45-minute infomercial for the plate thing, right?
Yeah, I think that was
Oh
it.
my goodness.
So I watched the clip. I watched a little bit of it, and the way Jimmy's talking, he's talking like the info guy. People, he goes, "Now, I was thinking about this thing the other day. Steph, what do you think about this vibrating plate shit that goes on your feet there? And then they were just going back and forth, and then they had the guy, the inventor, on there, and I'm saying to myself, this is a fucking infomercial.
And for how much was it? That's the most important part. The plate.
It
Well,
was
it started at like $5,000. It didn't have an actual price tag on it. It was like you could
'Cause it's
negotiate the
priceless.
price or something.
He had
That's
he just had
priceless
five-
treatment for your feet.
$5,000 laying around.
Yeah.
It's
No, but
just
That's
at
what
one-
the comments were saying. Just man, I've never seen a video with so many negative comments.
Right. Well, and at one point it was one of the first things he started pimping on there because he started doing like these little promo things. And he said he had this little tub thing. It looked like a thing of like protein shake thing or whatever.
Oh,
And he said,
God.
yeah. And I don't know if I called it powdered celery. I don't know what the fuck. It was like some green powdered shit.
Yeah,
Apparently it's some whatever.
smoothie juice.
Yeah,
yeah.
and
It's
he
from
was-
Nepal, though.
And
Right?
I'm like, I'm sitting there watching this show. I'm like,
high altitude areas. That's the new grip. If it's
Oh my
from
God,
a high
the Rumble
altitude
coffee.
area.
High
Y'all,
altitude
it's so
area,
hilarious. They have,
antioxidant from Nepal.
Bro,
That'll suck
they
your
have
dick
this
from the
fucking-
back.
I kid you not, they have this fucking like Patriot coffee. It's like 1775 coffee, like all kinds of bullshit. It's like all American branding. The shit is sourced from fucking Bolivia. I'm like, and I'm not gonna lie, because we had fun going through these fucking reviews. Everybody in like the Facebook reviews
forgot.
was just saying how much of a fucking scam it was. Yet you go to the fucking like Rumble creators page or whatever it is, and you got fucking Dore and Kim Iverson
Oh,
and fucking
man.
Russell Brand just all like gassing up this fucking shit ass Rumble coffee, like Patriot coffee is the greatest way to start your day, or like some bullshit like that. And it's just like, wow.
Well,
Like
I mean,
people
to
think
that whole
because
effect,
they're
right?
not people think that because they're not like directly taking money from fucking like Boeing or Raytheon, or because they're not legitimately working for like a CNN or a Fox News or an MSNBC, that they're just like not being blatant fucking shills. And it's like it's infuriating, but also you have to laugh at it because it looks corny
Yeah.
as shit.
They
Well,
can
yeah,
still be
Sam.
bootlickers. They can still be wrong
Oh, yeah.
about the stuff they're talking
Well-
about, even if they don't directly work for mainstream media.
Sam Cedar was selling cereal. That's why I was making fun of Jimmy Dore, because that was the first time I saw like some product shit. I was like, wait, what? What is it? He goes, I say, I don't know. This is like before the pandemic or some shit. And I was watching it for some god awful reason. Anyway, he starts talking about this cereal, and he's oh, this breakfast cereal is really great. I'm like, what is this guy doing a commercial? And then he's like, yeah, and he tells the name of the shit. And he said, yeah, it's better than this. And I'm like, he's doing a fucking commercial. And then, you fast forward to Jimmy Dore and the powdered celery shit. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Jimmy don't need the money. He's got like his comedy money
Yeah.
that he's got all that. And then the fucking
The
tips
super
that come
chats
in,
alone,
the fucking
yeah.
super chats. And they probably got like Discord and all that other
Like his
bullshit.
website membership too is
Why are you selling powdered celery? That's what I want
Well,
to
We
I
need
mean,
critical
at
thinking
least
says
now I
don't
know
forget
why
about
Jimmy's
the...
never on his own show. He's exhausted from recording all those infomercials.
Oh,
bro.
So he
man.
needs the energy.
We need critical thinking
Am I
says don't forget to buy gold grift.
yeah, fucking
Yeah,
birch
well,
gold
buy
with your
gold.
Standing on
bullshit
a
ass
vibrating
gold
plate.
certificates.
So I mean, give the guy a break, man.
The apocalypse
Gold
is
stand on
nigh.
He
vibrating
needs his feet
plates and
massaged with
fucking
all
get some
the with
sleep.
all that, right, Polly?
Say what?
He needs his feet massaged after all that, right?
That's
Yeah,
what
he
the
really
gold's
does,
for,
dude,
so he
like-
can buy the feet thing. Yeah, it all comes full circle.
Dude, his little gold guy looks like the devil. He looks like Lucifer himself. And Jimmy will like bring up some like leftist talking point about the economy or something, and the guy will just like, no, you're wrong, Jimmy. And Jimmy's like, yeah, I'm wrong.
Okay,
It's
maybe
like,
I'm
dude,
wrong.
this is sad. Like you were bought off by this guy.
So,
He's fucking controlling
yeah.
you now.
what advice would you guys give to people about all this stuff that we're talking about? Like, what advice would you give them about how they can be informed? They gotta watch all these people with an open mind, right? Just like how they watch mainstream media with critical thinking. And then in addition to that, tying this back with TikTok, what advice would you give people who are so emotional about the ban that they shouldn't put all their eggs in one basket, right? Is that what you guys would say, or what else would you give them? Because a lot of people were making their livelihoods off of TikTok. People were starting businesses, and TikTok was helping their business a lot. So what advice would you guys give to these people?
Well, you always got to have a backup plan. If you're going to do business like that, yeah, you should definitely diversify platforms like that. Maybe set something up somewhere else, because this kind of the businesses that they're doing, yeah, I mean, they're doing a lot of great business on TikTok, but how long will it last, right? They could pull the plug on it any moment, as we've seen, like they did it for like a few hours or whatever. To what end, I don't know. It could have been for like to send some sort of message or whatever, but I personally don't use like TikTok and Instagram, that kind of stuff very much. So I don't know what like kind of like being without it is for like, so like people who are addicted to TikTok and that kind of stuff. So if you don't have it, it's like, I guess you're just going to find more Chinese stuff like Red Note or whatever. There's always, it's like water going downhill. You can block it here, but it's just going to go around, and it's just, it's going to find its way.
I mean, I'm in the same boat as Warren. Like, not only was I never really like addicted to the TikTok scroll, but like, my job, like, I don't depend on social media whatsoever for my job. So like, I'll be open with my bias there. Like, I don't need fucking Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever to to keep my job. But what I can offer as, I guess, like what my takeaway is just like I was saying before the call, my mantra in 2024 essentially was just touch grass, and I'm just keeping that going. Because you do kind of have to like get out into your community. Like say, you do have a small business. Well, that's something that, you can not only promote on TikTok, but you can also do what you can to promote that in your local community. Granted, I don't know like what kind of small business one might have on TikTok, but say it's like I don't know, like a nail painting thing or like, a food thing, or I know like because ASMR blew up thanks to YouTube, so I know like a lot of people were making like slime, like the classic like skull slime where you mix together like glue and borax, like so they would sell that using TikTok. But like I feel like that kind of stuff is stuff that you can also, promote not only on other social media platforms, but it's also stuff that you can promote in your local community doing, what you can, whether it be flyering, whether it be just talking to people, whether it be like, I don't know, putting up a note on a local bulletin, but just that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well said. Do what you did on TikTok. Like for people who are like finding a community on TikTok and getting informed and active, do what you did on there, but in your local community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that people need to get more into like learning about labor and power structures of labor and like the gig economy and like that we need to like get rid of stuff like that. And that people should maybe that if you're into that stuff, maybe get your own website and like yeah, uh in the real world stuff like farmers markets or whatever and um yeah, just I feel like only use social media to exploit it, but don't ever expect it to like be good to you or whatever.
Yeah, well said there too.
Yeah, because it steals from you. I mean, it steals
Yeah.
your data. It steals. I mean, you might as well exploit it. That's what I do. I mean, I to for like shows and stuff like that. I use it for advertising purposes myself because it's free, And that's the thing. You have to like when you do have small businesses, you kind of have to get creative with your advertising, especially when your budget for advertising is kind of like nothing. So yeah, and to your point about like signs and stuff, like the old school signs, like people still walk on sidewalks and stuff like that. If you have you could just have something with a QR code there wrapped in plastic, like just some ratchet ass shit. People just go boop, and then all of a sudden they have your website and stuff like that. So, but because not a lot of people are going to go hunting and finding you on the web itself, but if you're actually out in those communities that you want to serve or you want to work with, you can put that kind of stuff up, and then you can get together that way.
Well said, Warren.
I try my best. Nah, I don't try. Awkward pause. Oh no, I didn't mean to.
The streaming etiquette is like an acquired fucking skill that like I am so out of touch with. Like
It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, same. God damn.
I just never acquired it. I was just like, fuck it, man. I'll fucking raw dog this shit all day.
Yeah.
I'm just like a running back that's looking for that hole in the line. I'm like, okay, there. All right, I'm gonna jump in right there. Okay, so because I will like just I'm a chatty Cathy. I'll go on and on, but but I was always taught that you be respectful, let other people speak when they're speaking, don't interrupt them. So I'm just good old Southern boy, just doing what he does.
Oh man, this is
Yeah.
America.
We
We
all got
talk
good
over each
chemistry
other.
Yeah.
here.
America.
Yeah, America. We say what we want when we want. We don't give a fuck who's talking.
We don't give a fuck about etiquette.
Shut up, all y'all. I'm talking. Blah, blah, blah. I'm fucking everybody talk. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. That's America.
I would say okay, so I have like a multifaceted approach to fucking TikTok because there's definitely a snob within me, like an intellectual snob. And so like part of me is like, would you just like expend your fucking attention span for more than 30 seconds? And like you do 30 minutes or maybe like 3 hours listening to something that you like are engaged with. But I guess to each their own. I would prefer it if people expanded their attention span a little bit more. If you must have the shorts type of short video type of stimulation,
Like there's still what is it? Facebook has Reels, right? And then YouTube has Shorts, and then whatever the fuck else, right? It's just not the platform TikTok, right? So it's not like you're being totally deprived of your fucking scrolling and fucking flipping through videos every 10 seconds, right? Um, but like also take into account that don't forget this is an oligarchy, and at any time the oligarchs can say, nope, you're not going to use that. You're not going to do that, right? And it's just nope. Uh, and so like any aspect that you thought you had of freedom is you may want to rethink that. I also would say that like markets move in cycles, right? And they move in boom and bust cycles, and they also move in centralization and decentralization cycles. We're in a centralization cycle, right? Because it used to be that like mainstream media was on cable news and blah 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 blah, right? And there was the different channels that you had, and if it was cable or if it was like satellite or dish or like your what is it? What was one of the other ones? Direct TV. You guys remember that? And all of that packaged together or so, right, was like $150. Okay. Add up all the streaming services all together, Netflix and Amazon and fucking Max and all the rest, right? Plus your internet. And if you choose a YouTube subscription or a TikTok subscription or whatever the fuck else, or an X fucking blue check or whatever the fuck, right? And you'll get to about $150, right? So it's not like we are in a period of centralization of markets, right? So the fact that U.S. companies want to centralize TikTok a little bit more, of course, like there's like definitely some like they want the power to censor some shit that comes out on TikTok, just like they do with YouTube and fucking everything else, so that they can manipulate algorithms and use the algorithms that are beneficial to them. Of course, that's going to be a thing, but like you can't get around that. So as Gloria said, touch fucking grass, right? Like maybe you should take a holistic approach to your life and start paying attention to the physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of it, and get off the fucking scroll. Right, the scroll, the endless fucking scroll.
Yeah. If you can just put your
It
phone
might not be
down.
the best for you, but like like, and keep in mind that you can only affect what you can affect, right? To like have these grandiose visions of like how you're gonna change the fucking world through TikTok, man. There's like a little bit of megalomania in that, definitely some narcissism in that. And then also, of course, like the fucking I'm on YouTube or on Rumble or on whatever the fuck else, and I'm being so censored shit. There's like narcissism and like in that too. Maybe, dude, people just don't want to watch your shit anymore. Maybe they've moved
We
on.
get
Maybe
censored.
you fucking sold out. Maybe you didn't get censored. Maybe you just fucked yourself because you're an idiot, right? Like, and you should analyze that and go touch grass. And it doesn't matter if you change your channel name or fucking start 17 fucking channels to fucking broadcast the same fucking thing that you always did, right? Like you're still a goddamn sellout and people don't want to fucking listen to your shit. So like I don't know, like probably get out of fucking macro and get a little bit more into the micro so that you can understand the macro a little bit better, because
Wow.
like there's so much shit in that macro of the TikTok ban or not ban or whatever the fuck else, is that like there's you can't control that, like, and maybe you should analyze what you can control within yourself. Maybe you should start taking care of your body a little bit, maybe some calisthenics, maybe some fucking like cardio shit, to get your body in working order so that your mind can function a little better. And once your mind's functioning a little bit better, maybe you can have your spirit function a little bit better, and you can kind of, I don't know, reassess your life by touching fucking grass.
What kind of voodoo shit is that? I'm not doing that fucking shit. Come on, man. I'm 56 years old,
We
man. I'm
gotta
at the end of
ground
my life.
ourselves.
Something as
I'm drinking
simple as,
whiskey and
like-
smoking cigars, okay? And I'm eating Oreos by the stack. Because fuck it. Chicken in a bucket. Fuck it. It's time to go.
That's fun.
And we're going out on the Love Boat. We ain't going out in no fucking dinghy or kayak. You know what I'm saying? We're going on the Star Trek cruise. That's how we're going out.
Oh yeah.
Something
And
as
also
simple
don't
as,
like
bird
invest in
watching,
fucking
though.
saviors like TikTok and Rumble
Yeah.
and Rockfin and China and what other daddies that you can come up with to be your savior. Like you like stop with
But
the
I'll just say,
messianic
too,
fucking
like, if you
like
just-
searing like none of you fuckers are seers out there, man. Like you're not gonna call the Messiah as he cometh forth and with his beautiful Jijin penis, like calm down, man. Like go touch some grass, like for real. Go outside. Like go fucking talk to some regular ass people. Get out of the echo chamber, right? Like
Yes.
maybe it's a good thing that you can't be fucking endlessly scrolling, right? Maybe it's a good thing that you should just like go out, dude. Like, go talk to some people. Fuck.
Well,
You
and
don't
then the
even have
news
to
is
talk
like
to
that. It's
people.
like the
Something as
endless
simple as
scroll of
bird
news.
watching can help. Just go out, like, where there's less development, put the phone down and just like look out for a heron or two, or look out for something, just like something simple as that. Like, it moves a bit slower than the overstimulation that we're used to these days, but like it's really nice. It really is.
It can help
And
people be
maybe
present for sure.
maybe you do like that stimulation. Well, guess what? One Piece exists.
Yeah.
That'll keep you hooked for more than 30 seconds.
Read stuff, right? If you don't want to watch stuff, you can read a manga, read some One Piece, Berserk, or
Agenda
like
piece, yes.
read some books, anything that would help you be present, rather
Right.
than like, you we need a we need breaks from all that overstimulation. I feel like there's a whole movement that they're trying to do to overstimulate people and to shorten our attention spans, with starting from like children who use like, or toddlers who are using like Baby Shark, and what's the other one, Coco Melon, and all that stuff. Like, it's not good for you. It's
No.
not
Well,
like,
Not that
it
early.
moves. Those pictures move way too fast for babies. These iPad kids can use. They can like browse through YouTube, the internet, and everything, but they can't even form sentences yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literacy rates are in the fucking bin right now. It's yeah.
Well, and like I'll juxtapose it like this too, because like there was a lot of stuff on TikTok that like you couldn't get in YouTube Shorts, or if you could, like it was soon there taken down for whatever reasons, violating fucking community rules and guidelines, right? Like all that other shit. Same thing with X and everything else, right? But I'll juxtapose it like this, right? Is while TikTok was great for like opening up the eyes of this
Hmm.
generation and like the people around the world to what is happening in Gaza, right? And
For
the fact
sure.
that like the Israeli terrorists, the Zionist terrorists were live streaming their genocide on TikTok, right? Like that was helpful. However, I didn't need TikTok to inform me on fucking Palestine. I bought a book about 10 years ago called Gaza, An Inquest into Its Martyrdom by Norman Finkelstein. I knew everything then. This was just added information, right?
Hmm.
I've known about Palestine for, fuck, this will be the 11th year where I really opened my eyes to what's happening there, right? And it wasn't TikTok that was able to talk to the people that I work with that are in my direct, like, sphere of influence. It was me. And I was able to use facts and figures from that book and from other subsequent things that Norm Finkelstein has fucking written, right? Things that Abby Martin has put out, right? And I was able to source those things, right? And I was able to like speak to people. And I didn't need TikTok to do that. So, like pressing the easy button for TikTok to do that when the hard work comes from, dude, you got to actually talk to people. Like, if
Hmm.
they
Yep.
think that, like, it's okay to just come in and start fucking being like, did you see that shit over in Israel? I hope they kill all those motherfuckers, right? Like, because that's what they were fed, and be like, yo, dude, this is actually the fucking case. And sometimes it'll take a day, sometimes it'll take a month, sometimes it'll take a fucking year, and sometimes it'll never happen. But you gotta try because that's what it is to struggle, right? The struggle is fucking is deep, and you got to take your part in it, right? Like don't easy button that shit to a platform that's centralized that can be fucking censored by any fucking government organization at any time. right? You got to take that power within yourself after you touch the grass and you realize you have the power to go out there and talk to people yourself, like face to face in person, right? Like you got to talk to people and like upset their comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't be hostile, but like
And talk
Well,
to
you-
people from different perspectives. Don't allow
Yeah.
yourself to be in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And that's how you learn from, biases that you have. You could be wrong about the way that you're viewing the world.
Yeah.
And regular ass people, they just want to hear sincerity. They've heard bullshit their whole lives. They just want to hear some truth, and they want to know that it's coming from somebody that actually is telling the truth and is not, blowing smoke up their ass, right? So it's a whole trust factor when it comes to this communication with people like that. You may have a relationship with some people outside of these spaces here, like in pub, you work with them or wherever, go to church with them, whatever. And it's kind of hard to have these kind of conversations about this, especially like the churchgoers too, who are so all up in, like it's in the Bible says that Israel's the Holy Land, and that's their land, that belongs to them. I mean, you've got this lifetime of propaganda that you're battling against, right? That they filled their heads with this fairy tale bullshit. I'm not dissing on religion and the personal benefits that it has for you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the holy books and all this other
yeah.
the propaganda tools.
The way they interpret it.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
on that front, like, I mean, you kind of gotta. There's a logical fallacy that says everything always ends up in the fucking Hitler argument, right? But you also got to meet people where they're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the best ways to fucking meet people where they're at is when they say that about how that land was granted to the Israelites by God, right? Because they're the chosen people. Be like, oh shit, yeah, I've heard this one before. Yeah, I think it was in 1933. There was a fucking dude in Germany that said the German people were granted all this Lebensraum and is their historical homeland, and they have the right to take it by any means necessary because they were chosen by God to take that Lebensraum by any means necessary. Because everyone else, by the very nature of them being chosen by God, was unchosen by God. And if that is the case, then they were the superior beings, and everyone else was the inferior beings. Right? Like, you gotta, like, liken it to something that someone else can understand. Right? I haven't gotten, like, any kind of, like, most people try to retreat to, well, it's different because God and this and that and the other thing, but you just got to keep hammering the point home. It's like, why is one okay without the other? Okay. Or are both wrong, right? And then you kind of got to circle back to morality, right? Like, I've read Stirner. I think objective morality being a spook is kind of stupid, honestly. Like, I think there's a lot of anarchists that get that wrong, right? But morality is like the supreme law, right? And if you're gonna, you've got to exercise that internal monarchy to exercise the external anarchy, right? Like, people forget that law is like there is a moral, natural law to things, right? And it's you were born knowing what is right and what is wrong, right? But I mean, you don't need TikTok to do that. And as a matter of fact, I would say most TikTok was just that Mr. Beast dude and like gym workouts and like bubble butt shaking, right? Like, how much of it was actually Palestinian fucking genocide happening? Right?
Well, it was those little dances like
Yeah, and the stupid ass fucking dances.
It was the bubble butts for me.
I feel
it was
like
definitely the bubble.
they-
Yeah, it was definitely
that-
the bubble butts.
As it's referred to in the incel community, soft porn. Or diet porn.
I think they call it cake too, don't they? Like junk in the trunk. I like cake though, because I like cake in real life, and I like the fact that someone's ass might be made out of cake too. I'm just
That's some
saying.
Homer Simpson sounding shit right there.
Where do you put the candle for the birthday? That's what I want to know. Oh, there's a spot right there for one candle.
Oh man.
Is it like carrot cake or?
I'll be leaving now. Where's that technical difficulty? Sorry.
Dang it, Warren. We can end it there.
Hey,
Hey, Warren gets the
showstopper,
final
baby!
word.
I'll be at the Caesar's Palace next Thursday night. Be sure to tip your wait staff.
For real though, guys, thank you very much for all that.
Yeah, this was
You
fun.
guys gave a
It
lot
was
of
fun.
wisdom to me and to everybody here in the audience. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream. Thank you guys very much for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Revolution won't be televised.
Bye.
3